Hi there, fellow 8-plussers. This is Tata from Rangers of Wrestling, and I'm joined by the mouth of Princeton, Texas, Josh. And today we are going to be talking about Crown Jewel because we have quite a few things to talk about. But first, let's talk about this U.S. title match: Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. I didn't think this was a bad match. And say what you want about Logan Paul, but you gotta respect and admire him. He clearly has a lot of respect for the sport, and he even saved Rey Mysterio during one spot in this match. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, again, they call him the Maverick for a reason. Again, I mean, look, I know that his character is supposed to be annoying. His character is kind of, not there all the time, but he plays it perfectly. I mean, the man knows how to play a heel. I mean, he is a YouTube sensation, YouTube star, been one for a while. And I mean, I wonder if this is not the beginning of kind of a new era of a superstar. I mean, we look at Bad Bunny, who was really great. We look at Pat McAfee. I mean, we have crossovers from places I never would have guessed. So, I mean, yeah, Logan Paul, I mean, look, he's only had, 5, 6, 7 matches. But, I mean, for him being in this match, I don't think it's too much of a stretch. I mean, look, his WWE title match with Roman Reigns earlier, I think it was last year or earlier this year. I can't remember which. I mean, the guy's got talent. He's undeniable. That's what I would say. He's undeniable.
Well, let's talk about the ending of this, I would say. Because Logan Paul's friend, I don't know who that guy is. I don't know if you
Me
know
either.
who he is. He tried to give him some brass knuckles. They got thrown out. But if you look closely, when Santos Escobar tries to chase that guy away, he just casually puts the brass knuckles in the ring, allowing Logan Paul to be able to grab him and hit Rey Mysterio with them. And Logan Paul is victorious, and he's now the new United States champion. Before we get into him winning, I think that is slowly planting the seeds of a Santos Escobar heel turn.
Yep.
And of course, and it makes total sense because, first of all, Rey Mysterio stole the opportunity to become U.S. champion from him. And then he fell to beat Rey Mysterio? Come on now.
It goes back to our predictions again. I remember kind of just subtly wondering if Santos Escobar was either going to cost Ray the match or have an official heel turn. And yeah, I mean, I loved the subtlety. And I mean, again, they may explore it on SmackDown and it may be like, oh no, man, I didn't mean to. I just was so busy chasing him, things like that. Or if they're just going to basically have it to where it reveals that same night, hey, yeah, I wanted you to lose because if I can't have the title, you can't have the title. So no, it was a very well done, subtle thing that you and I think, both caught. I don't know if everybody caught that. I don't know if everybody caught the subtleties. So I love the subtlety of just kind of the not really, saying a word, just like, oh, let me go chase this guy. But again, I kind of wish they would have maybe given some more background of like, here's his cronies. But again, I think that's the idea, is it's supposed to drive you to his podcast, Impulsive, I think it's called. So, I mean, I didn't mind it. But yeah, the subtlety was there. And I definitely appreciated that, they're starting to do things that make you want to pay attention to the little things going on in the background or the little bitty hints here and there. I love this.
Same, because what this means for the LWO, are we going to see the rebirth of Legado de Fantasma?
Maybe. I mean, again, I love it because if you really look at the LWO history, rarely ever was the LWO a face faction. I mean, in WCW, it was led by Eddie Guerrero as a heel faction against Rey Mysterio and things like that. So to me, it's taking LWO back to its root. Now, having Carlito involved, I mean, I think you have a little bit more of a difficulty there. But again, it could be Rey Mysterio and let's say Dragon Lee joins and it becomes the LWO versus Legado del Fantasma. I mean, again, I don't think it'd be a bad move. I don't really think it. I think they can go either way. I think it makes more sense for them to stay LWO because if you look at Santos's hand, he has LWO tattooed on his hand. So to me, it kind of would be stupid to change it back. But again, there was something to be said about Legado del Fantasma as well. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if Ray is kicked out of LWO or if Santos and the other two leave. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Both kind of make sense to me. What about you?
I do question, like, I do agree. They both kind of make sense, but it's like, is Rey Mysterio going to get the boot or are they just gonna separate from Rey Mysterio, Zelina Vega, and Carlito here?
Right. And I think the inclusion of Carlito, I mean, I hate to say it, kind of complicates things, but in a way it does, because then yeah, you have Carlito. I don't know. Again, it's weird seeing Carlito as a face because I'm so used to him being a heel at this point. So it's so strange. I'm still waiting for that. Honestly, again, I'm glad they have Santos Escobar turning on him. I think it's a great thing, but be honest with you, I kind of expected it to be more of a Carlito led turn on Rey Mysterio, because I can't really recall them having a feud back in the day. Unless I'm wrong, I don't recall Carlito and Rey really feuding that much. And I thought that's kind of where they were going to go.
I feel you, yeah. So Logan Paul winning, I don't have a problem with Logan Paul winning, honestly. And it makes sense. I mean, he's going to probably take that title, carry it anywhere he goes, probably to promote it on Impulsive. The next time he has a boxing fight, he can wear that to the ring. It's just more eyes.
So. Yes. Yeah, I agree totally. And again, I mean, he's got the respect. He has the respect of the fans. It's not like Pat McAfee winning the U.S. title, which again, would be okay. But Pat McAfee, still, you can tell he is part commentator, part wrestler. Whereas, look, the guy puts his time in. I mean, you can tell he's not just this kind of, celebrity like Bad Bunny that just puts in the time a little bit. I mean, he basically fits out there. He's got the physique. He's got the look. So, and he puts the work ethic in. So really, no, him being United States champion, I don't want to say it's akin to Miz being the U.S. champion back when he was kind of the Hollywood Miz thing. But look, I mean, Miz would do the same thing. If he was U.S. champion, he would run around with it on the talk shows and things like that. So, yeah, it's going to get a lot more eyes. And look, him walking down to a boxing match, and winning that boxing match definitively, that makes the U.S. title right there. I mean, so realistically, I don't have a problem with it, because Logan Paul has proven his worth. Even though people hate him, that's his job, everybody. You're supposed to not like him. That's the idea. You're supposed to think he's a douchebag. You're supposed to think he's like some just moron out there. And again, he proves himself. The man, I have not seen any sort of match to where I can say, okay, I can tell they're working together. And that's the difference. Bad Bunny, you could tell someone, okay, now they're waiting for him to set up his move. Logan Paul, he's smooth. So I think he deserves it. Again, it's a little different, but hey, it's 2023. Let's shake things up a little bit.
Sure. All right, next let's talk about the WWE Women's Title match, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. So the biggest thing in this match is the return of Kairi Sane.
Love it. So excited. Same. I mean, go ahead.
So I do have a bit of an update. So it says, Fightful Select reports Kairi Sane is back in WWE. Kairi Sane's deal was done months ago, as were a couple of others such as Nia Jackson, Lexis King, when the unofficial WWE hiring freeze ended. Kairi Sane was desired by WWE last year, but WWE couldn't make it happen for whatever reason. She returned at Crown Jewel, where she attacked Bianca Belair to help Io Sky. So there you go. So she's been signed for months, but she just made her return. Now, see, this is interesting because I don't know if you recall, but the last time Kairi Sane was in WWE, she got taken out by Bayley. Yep. And Bayley's in a faction with Io Sky. But if you ask me, I think Io Sky is just over Bayley. I don't know if you caught it, but there's this one spot where Io Sky accidentally hits Bayley, and the fact that she kind of just like looked at it, the way she looked at her and how she backed away, kind of set it off. She's so over Bayley. And so this is where things get interesting, because Io Sky and Kairi Sane are friends, but Bayley took out Kairi Sane. Bayley looked surprised to see Kairi Sane, but Io Sky didn't.
That was the best part, is, I mean, I go back to one of the promos to where, if I remember correctly, it was Asuka just talking in Japanese. And again, Bayley's like, you want to fight Io Sky? Yeah, let's do it. And she's like, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. She didn't say that. I love it because it's been this kind of slow little burn of kind of Bayley talking for Io Sky. And again, I'm so happy that Io Sky is getting her flowers, as I would say. And really, I believe, if I remember correctly, the reason Kairi Sane wanted to come back is she started to see the prominence of Io Sky and the success of Asuka, more so Io Sky. So yes, it was, I think Michael Cole said it best. I think it was that Bailey looked like she saw a ghost from the past. And again, it's not the same silly, I don't want to say Final Fantasy, but anime cosplay, One Piece cosplay pirate queen. Again, I love the character, don't get me wrong, but this was a different Kairi Sane. This was a more vicious looking Kairi Sane, just with her makeup. And again, granted, maybe they would have worn something different because they weren't in Saudi Arabia, but no, I loved it. I am waiting for this whole. I read online, I think that they're supposed to have a faction now. That, I mean, it could be someone else that would be joining that we would never expect. And I mean, I would be happy if Asuka came into the fold. I mean, a Japanese women contingent stable. We haven't seen that really since the Jumping Bomb Angels, and they weren't really much of a stable, more of a team. But I would love it because, again, here we have it to where they could take over the entire WWE women's division, all have legitimacy, all have, I dare say, a language barrier. But look at Shinsuke Nakamura. The man speaks in English. They have subtitles, and it's made his character resurgence just so much more interesting. So I'm hoping for more surprises. And again, having her come back at this time at Crown Jewel, unexpected, and it's going to lead to a lot more intrigue in the women's division. I can tell you that, at least from my standpoint. I think it will.
To add to your point about the faction, if they do make a faction, they gotta do what they didn't do for Damage Control. Meaning, if Io Sky is women's champion, they gotta make the other two, Kairi Sane, whoever else joins, whether it be Asuka or they bring in somebody, tag team champions, and have them have all the gold and run, just be in control, which is what Damage Control failed to do. Like, Damage Control's booking was up and down, up and down.
Yeah, lackluster.
Yeah, so
I hate to say Dakota Kai heard it, but again, to me, I can see the legitimacy with Bailey. I can see the legitimacy with Io Sky, but I hate to say it. I think Dakota Kai, maybe not through any fault of her own, because again, it always goes down to the booking, right? But I just think she was kind of the cog that kind of made them not have the legitimacy and that bad beepery, if I could just say that they should have had. And I think that hurt them. I think had they had another superstar in that slot instead of Dakota Kai, and again, no disrespect to Dakota Kai, it's not that she's not talented. I just think that she didn't fit in the group that, because to me, I thought Bailey would have hired killers, right? And I think Io Sky is one that was a surprise because, again, she was a face in NXT. I don't know. I kind of expected something different. So I agree. The next faction of women needs to dominate completely. And I think if they can get Asuka on board and have Asuka and, well, because think about it, Asuka and Kairi Sane were tag team, I believe, champions, correct? Or they were a tag team. So,
yeah,
I mean,
Kabuki Warriors.
Yes, exactly. So it makes perfect sense for all three of them to come together, especially in this sort of faction and running SmackDown and the women's tag team champion. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
If booked correctly, it could be a legitimate badass faction. But it all just depends on the booking.
And I dare say it would be probably one of the most, probably the first, I hate to say it this way, but it'd be the first Japanese contingent stable with legitimacy in the WWE. I mean, we had Kai and Tai, and again, that was kind of a group, but it became more of a comedy routine. But just, I don't know, the way that Io Sky, as you said, has her visuals. Same with Asuka, just that sudden just kind of turn of, I can't even do it because I don't have that talent, right? But I don't know. I'm excited now. I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do, and I really hope they pull the plug quickly and bring this faction to dominance, because that's what I want to see. I want to see Damage Control, whoever iteration that's going to be, versus the contingent of Asuka and all that. So I don't know. It makes sense to me. It's to ignore Asuka in this group would be a disservice to the Kabuki Warriors and to the contingent as a whole.
I was trying really hard to hold my yawn in, but I couldn't. That right
Look,
there.
man, no problem.
Okay. All right, so now let's talk about the kickoff match. The only match of the kickoff show was Sami Zayn versus JD Madonna. And I was surprised that Judgment Day didn't come out here. Because I was like, again, they left poor JD alone in there with Sami Zayn.
I kind of expected Finn Balor to come out again, but I think he must be off or something. I don't know, because you really didn't see him until way later. But Yeah, it was kind of strange. I mean, poor JD, again, the poor man has just run American Idol 500 different times in the WWE in terms of running for Judgment Day, and they can't even back him up. And he's helped them numerous round of times. To me, it kind of makes his character look stupid. It really does. Because to me, he should have been part of the faction from day one. Otherwise, he needs to be the dissenter and breaking Finn away from the Judgment Day. The match was great. I thought it was good. I was not surprised Sammy went over because, again, he's so over with that Saudi Arabian crowd. He definitely had the backing, and they went crazy for him. To me, as a kickoff match, it was probably one of the more entertaining, energetic kickoff matches I've seen in quite a while. So I definitely think it was the right move to have him win, and I think it was the right place to put them in because even though they were in the pre-show, if you'd turned it on, you would have thought it was the main show.
Yeah, I agree. It was a fun match. I didn't mind it. I definitely did enjoy the match, and I was just surprised that this was on the kickoff.
Well, especially ending the match with a Blue Thunder Bomb, which you rarely ever see happen with Sami Zayn. Usually it's a haluva kick. So I thought that was a little unique. I definitely think they made it again, it was strange it was a pre-show match, but I wasn't upset that it was because for a pre-show match, hey, look, I mean, I remember back watching WWF Heat back in the days just to, one, see the pay-per-view set up the stage, and two, you always had kind of a little match that kind of made you want to say, hey, I want to order this. I want to pre-order this. And again, if we think about it, maybe that was the design behind it of giving a good match on the pre-show to make you want to say, oh, well, if Sami Zayn won, what's next? So definitely didn't mind this placement. And I think that they definitely got the time they deserve for the pre-match. So
yeah, definitely.
Nothing wrong with that at all, I think.
So the main card, and I thought this was an interesting choice. The World Heavyweight title match, Seth frickin' Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Interesting choices to kick off the pay-per-view with. But hey, this was a really great match.
Very good. I mean, look, I always kind of felt in my predictions that Seth Rollins was going to win. I thought, okay, this is going to be more of the same. But when Drew McIntyre hit that late finisher at the end, the Claymore, I have to admit, part of me was like, are they going to? No. And I almost, again, to catch me like that's pretty rare because most of the time I'm not, especially with Seth Rollins and stuff, I kind of thought, okay, he's going to win. But they did a really great job of making me suspend my disbelief. And again, if you can do that in a world heavyweight title match that I basically next to Roman Reigns expected Seth Rollins to win, hey, it was a great match. And again, a good opener. And I kind of liked it because I don't think there's a disrespect with it being an opener because one, the whole idea of, look, Seth Rollins is injured, Seth Rollins' back's broken. And two, why not start off with a fire match? Why not get them on their feet and not have this world heavyweight championship and then the WWE heavyweight? I don't know. It kind of gave this ebb and flow to the show. It was like you started off high, kind of went middle, went up again. I don't know. It was perfect placement. I didn't mind its placement because, hey, look, it got out there and we got a great match to start off the show.
Yeah, at first I was like, why are they starting off the show with this? But then it was a really great match, so I can't complain.
Right. Well, look, it's not Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania? What was it? Oh my gosh. I think I remember the number now, just that 28-second match or something like that. So look, I was happy that we got, and really even the finishing sequence of the reversal of the move into the pedigree and then to the stomp. I thought, all right, okay. And they didn't make Drew look bad in losing. That's what I think the difference was with Shinsuke. I hate to say it, they hurt his credibility a little bit. Drew, I think, still has a way of saying, oh, you got me. You just got me this one time, but I almost had you. So
I thought that Drew McIntyre was going to turn heel during this match, like at the end, but he didn't. But I feel like the heel turn is coming. I feel like it's coming because you had that one spot in the back where Drew McIntyre is like looking down and Rhea just kind of like shrugs her shoulders and walks away, So I feel like the heel turn is coming.
The subtlety, again, that is what I think has changed so much. It's just these little bitty breadcrumbs that you have that, look, even if you tuned in late, you think, okay, Drew lost. And again, Ray was just like, I told you we could have helped you. And again, the after match part of Sami Zayn stealing Damian Priest's briefcase. That was a whole nother thing I didn't expect him to come out. I thought, okay, they're going to really turn him right here. They're going to let him lose the title at Crown Jewel. And Sami Zayn runs off with it. It's all these interwoven stories with the Judgment Day that they've done so well incorporating. That's a hard thing to do. not since Evolution, I think, have we seen these kind of intersectionality. Well, I say the Bloodline too, but continual intersectionality of all these differing storylines, making a great entire story for the whole entire group. Because again, we can talk about in 10 years, oh, do you remember, and we may not, but it all ties into everything. And the idea that Rhea is looking and recruiting, I don't know. There's some sort of something we're missing. And I say we as fans are missing, that there's going to be a big reveal somewhere that's going to shock us all. And I hope they do it. I hope there is a swerve coming that we're not expecting. And not a Damian Priest turn, because we expect that. But I'm hoping there's going to be some big, like, holy heck. I mean, let's say Drew went with the Judgment Day. I wouldn't have guessed that. That would have shocked me. And so, I don't know. I'm hoping that's going to be a swerve. I'm hoping something's going to happen that we're not going to.
I laughed when Sami Zayn, he just stole Damian Priest's briefcase and just, ran off. That's hilarious.
It was perfect. Well, and it made sense. It made sense that, look, he's not going to be able to beat up Damian Priest and keep him from it, but just to steal his briefcase. And again, they did a great job of saying he can't cash in unless they have that in their possession. So it was a good way of having that sort of tease. And now Seth Rollins is going to be even more on guard. And they know Sami Zayn's going to have to be detained for it to happen. So it was a nice teaser, and it made me, again, suspend my disbelief, saying they're really going to make him lose right now. He's not ready. He's not ready. So I don't know. Finding that old school fan in me of thinking, well, no, Damien's not ready. This is not the time. I don't want to give it to him at Crown Jewel. Don't give it to him just because they're in Saudi Arabia. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that they didn't pull the trigger, because it needs to be a better moment than that.
And as we learned throughout this pay-per-view, War Games is coming to Survivor Series. So I feel like, again, this is all leading to War Games. It's going to be Team Judgment Day versus, it seems like Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and who would be the fourth person?
Maybe KO, just because.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see. But it's definitely leading to a War Games match.
Definitely don't think it's going to be Punk. I'd be shocked if they put Punk in there. I highly doubt that, though.
All right, let's talk about the Women's World Championship Fatal 5-Way match. It was Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Starks.
I was going to say, I didn't really like the match as much. It kind of felt kind of everywhere. I mean, I think had they removed one person, made it a Fatal 4-Way, it would have been better, because I think in a 5-way match, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to tell me a historical Fatal 5-Way that's great, but I don't know. It kind of started out kind of messy. That roll up from Stark to Rhea Ripley to start the match, I don't know. It just it felt disjointed at times, I think. And it kind of felt like you're waiting. Okay, well, Nia Jax is now waiting to be hit by this person. I don't know. I'm not surprised by the result. It gave Rhea Ripley out. It very much akin to Kurt Angle winning the Armageddon Hell in a Cell at Armageddon 2000 after fighting 5 other main eventers. Well, I guess 4 and then Rikishi, but I don't know. I'm not surprised by the outcome, but I didn't really like the match. I felt it was kind of clunky.
I understand why you say that. I thought the match was pretty decent. It wasn't too terrible. But again, the ending just proves why Mommy's always on top. She did the avalanche riptide to Zoe Starks on top of Raquel Rodriguez and Shayna Baszler. But now here's the situation that you run into. She's pretty much beaten everybody now on Raw, except for maybe Becky Lynch.
Which I think that's what they're leading to. I think that's what they're leading to, because they have had a lot of interactions when she was NXT champion or NXT Women's Champion, right? And we want to see it, but is really the time now, because we have the Royal Rumble coming up. Well, Survivor Series, I guess you could have that too. I don't know. That almost seems like a WrestleMania match, but like you said, who is she going to face? Unless there's some little plucky person from NXT like Roxanne Perez, but then you're just feeding her debut to somebody like that. I don't know. I mean, again, Becky Lynch makes the most sense, but I don't know. It'll probably be Rhea versus Nia Jax, or her versus Raquel Rodriguez. I don't know. Anything she does, we know it's going to lead to a Becky Lynch match. So they've kind of told us, don't worry about any of the other matches, because Rhea's never really in danger of losing the title.
Yeah.
That's one thing that gets me. It's like, I get it, but when she beats the whole division, what else is left? Natalya? Come on.
I honestly think Rhea Ripley is going to be the last member of Judgment Day to lose her title.
It makes sense, and it makes total sense. And again, that would be, I dare say, that's going to be the end of the Judgment Day. That's going to be the dissolution of it.
I think that would be the final nail in the coffin as a group. I could see Rhea Ripley and Dominic staying together, and, depending on how they do it, how they go about the split, because obviously Damian Priest is going to get removed from the group. So it just depends on how they do it. But I do agree. I think Rhea Ripley losing her title will be the final nail.
But with Damian Priest, are we going to get the whole
Evolution
might as
style?
well, right? I mean, look, it was successful, as silly as it is now. I mean, hey, I don't know. Sometimes I think things like that, should he win the world heavyweight title? Yes. But I still think that it shouldn't be this immediate, like, oh, sorry, you won the world title, or you're out of here. There's got to be some time in there. I don't know. I mean, again, could Damian Priest be a face? Yes, but his heel work's pretty good. I mean, and that rise for the Judgment Day, and it could be a slow burn of rise for your world champion and the Judgment Day. Then they could start this whole like, well, you're talking about yourself. This group is not about one; it's about all of us. So I don't know. There's a lot of ways they could go about it, and I wouldn't be mad if Damian Priest stays as world champion as part of Judgment Day. But poor Finn Balor, Finn Balor. I feel his moment was stolen when Seth Rollins beat him. I really thought if you're going to do anything, make Balor win and then have Priest cashing on Balor. But, that moment is past now.
Fantasy booking.
Fantasy booking, yes.
So you got John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. Now, I have to say, I wanted Solo Sikoa to win this. I had picked John Cena because, that promo and everything else seemed to be kind of hinting that John Cena would get the victory here. But John Cena massively put over Solo Sikoa. I mean, this match was mostly Solo Sikoa. He put him over big time. I mean, he sold that Samoan spike. I don't even know how many Samoan spikes he did to John Cena, but it was a lot.
I want to say 10 in total. Yeah, this, like milk does the body good, this did my soul good to see this, because this is Cena giving back. And I dare say correcting the errors when he didn't put over Umaga that so long ago. I mean, granted, Umaga's gone now, right? But this should have been when Cena put over Umaga at the Royal Rumble 07. Now, granted, I think Umaga could have gone to WrestleMania that year and as champion? No. But I really think that this is what should have been. This is exactly how you build a character. It doesn't hurt John Cena in the long run because here's this young guy, this Street Fighter, and I mean, so let's go and beat the bejesus out of him. Let's just say what it is. I mean, this was literally akin to, I don't want to say Lesnar taking down Hulk Hogan from 02, but literally it was pretty close to it. Just wham, wham, wham. I mean, that visual and not having Paul Heyman out there and having him cleanly beat him, there's nowhere for him up. I mean, when you have Solo Sikoa, who was kind of, I don't want to say a bit player, but always would be kind of the guy in the back, that pushed him to the forefront. Because now he could look at Roman Reigns and say, hey, I beat John Cena too. What's that to me? What's that to you? If I can beat him, I dang sure can beat you. So it's John Cena basically did the favors, and John Cena put over Solo massively. There's no other way except for Taker coming out of retirement and laying down for Solo Sikoa. That pretty much was Solo Sikoa's star making.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, like I said, I was, if this match would have happened 10, 15 years ago, Cena would have turned into Super Cena in the middle of this match, done maybe one AA, and would have won.
Yep.
Exactly. But no, I mean, this was he put him over.
Kudos. Yeah. Kudos to the man.
This is how it should have gone down. Him putting over Solo Sikoa. I swear, I like John Cena. I really do a lot. But I would have felt some type of way if John Cena would have won, because I honestly felt like he didn't need to win this match. And now Solo Sikoa has bragging rights because if that strike ends this weekend, he could say that he sent Cena packing back to Hollywood.
Yep. and without anybody's help. That's the differential that we're not. I don't want to say that we're not talking about, that really needs to be pointed out and highlighted, that there was no Paul Heyman ringside, which I thought was interesting because usually Paul Heyman is always with Solo. I only wish they would have had a moment, and maybe I missed it, if Solo said, Paul, I got this. Let me handle it. And Paul be like, no, Paul, I've got this. And then beat him. And then he would have walked back and said, I told you I got this. And then there could have been this sort of tension of Paul Heyman being like, oh crap, he beat Cena by himself. I don't know. There could have been a little bit more seeds planted there. Fantasy booking again. But I did love that Paul Heyman wasn't needed in this moment, and that it was a clean win and a decisive victory. Not since John Cena got suplexed 15 times by Brock Lesnar have we seen this sort of dominance. So, I mean, look, Austin Theory beat Cena mostly clean at WrestleMania, and it did nothing for Theory's career. I hate to say that, but really didn't. But this, hopefully they run with Solo at this point, because to drop the ball on him at this point would be a disservice to him and that match entirely.
Yeah. And then let's talk about how John Cena, at the end, the crowd gave him a standing ovation.
Yep.
Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, that he got a standing ovation.
I think the fans finally have forgiven him for Super Cena. And I think they knew at that moment, as you said, 15 years ago, they would expect Super Cena, 2 or 3 AAs, it's over with. But they were like, you know what? I'll be damned. He did it. He finally put Super Cena down. Somebody put Superman down, and Superman allowed himself to be put down and defeated. So I loved it, because I think the crowd wasn't only supporting John Cena as fans, but I think those in the crowd that were smart marks knew, you know what? Kudos to you for doing the right thing finally. This is what you've needed to do 15 years ago, and I'm glad you're finally here at this point to do it.
So we have a Miss TV segment with Ibrahim Hadja. Is that how you say his name?
I guess. I mean, to me, it was like, this pay-per-view, premium live event would have been perfect and did not need this segment. I know you have to reinforce Miz as a face now, but I'm sorry. I hate the pandering to Saudi Arabia. I get it. I understand they're getting paid $50 million to be there. But, you know, between that and the whole, I love the whatever airlines. Come on, guys. At this point, it's like, you know, bring back the Great Khali. I'd rather have that. I mean, because at least I know what he's doing. But this guy suddenly is going to be a wrestler in a movie. I don't know. It was very. This should have been pre-show. Let's just say what this is. If I would have switched JD and Sammy to this being the pre-show, I'd have been fine with it, because nobody watches the pre-show at that point. It'd have been just like, oh, that's great. Local guy from the crowd. So that's the best way I can describe it. Simple enough.
I have to agree with you. This segment did nothing for me. And I was just like, okay, why are you throwing this on in the middle? You know, it's like, okay, you want the audience to cool down a bit, maybe, but you could have switched this with the Sammy versus JD match, and it would have been a much stronger premium live event. But I'll talk more about that when we're done reviewing.
Right.
But yeah, it did nothing for me, honestly. It didn't.
I appreciate the work. I mean, I appreciate that the guy had some time to being a wrestler, but that kick was terrible. And Miz, you know, throwing him in there, I don't know. Have Gunther come out and chop the crap out of him. I mean, I know he can't, but I mean, I would have rather had that, and that'd been more entertaining than this. Because Grayson Waller and running into Miz all of a sudden, now I'm like, wait, he's a Raw star, there's SmackDown. I don't know, because there's no real reason for it, because unless Miz is going to go to SmackDown and feud with Grayson Waller and help out Kevin Owens, when are we going to see them run into each other again?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Throwaway segment. Went and made popcorn. Went to the bathroom break. Again, I just hate to see that Sammy and JD, granted their match was nowhere near like a 5-star match, but I hate to see that to history, Sammy and JD are going to disappear, and this is going to be remembered on the pay-per-view. So.
We got Cody Rhodes. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, premium live event, excuse me. Go ahead.
We got Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. This was a really good match. I enjoyed this match. Now, it's interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, JD was out there by himself. Meanwhile, during this, you had Finn Balor, Dirty Dom. The only person that was missing was Rhea, and they all came out. They all came out to try to help Damien, but you can kind of tell Damien was like, like, what are you doing here?
Further planting the seeds for dissension in the Judgment Day. And again, it really cost him. And again, did I not call those damn 3 crossroads? I was like, yep, finish the story. I was like, again, Cody Rhodes winning was all right. I mean, again, it made sense. He got the comeuppance right. Damian Priest didn't cash in. He lost his match. And he could always say, look, where were you guys? Because I look at it this way. So the story of it is he lost because of the Judgment Day, because they weren't effective. And he didn't cash in because Sami Zayn was allowed to sneak by. And where was the Judgment Day? Why were they not watching? Why were they not out there with him to stop Sami Zayn? I thought that was strange. He came up by himself. I thought surely they're going to bring Finn Balor and Dirty Dom. And again, where were they? So there's going to be a story of Damon Priest saying, you guys screwed me out of the title and you screwed me out of my match. So it's going to be the start of some dissension for sure.
Yes, but I like I've said, I think Judgment Day is going to stick together at least until War Games.
Yes.
And after War Games, we're going to see the beginning of the end, so to speak, of Judgment Day, as we know it.
Right. And again, and I'm fine with that. I mean, again, it makes sense that they're part of War Games, and it makes sense that, look, it could be a Finn Balor takes the loss, and Damian Priest is like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm better on my own. I eliminated some people on my own. I don't know. I think this is, again, like you said, the start of it. And I think this is the prime example of them costing him the World Heavyweight Championship, because without Sami Zayn to interfere, he probably would have won this one. So I definitely think this match was good. It definitely showed Damian Priest's strengths. I think sometimes Damian Priest needs a little bit more. I don't know if it's just me. He needs a little bit more something. I don't know if it's a little bit more aggression, a little bit more polish, but the match was fine. And again, once Cody Rhodes hit his 15 different finishers, the Cody Cutter, and then this, and then that, and then the typical Cody Rhodes match. So, I mean, it made Damian Priest important, and I think he looked good in defeat, but Cody Rhodes, again, has to win.
He's Cody Rhodes. Of course he's going to win.
Exactly. I don't get it. It's like he told a story one time when the fan was like, whenever he lost at WrestleMania, I was the same way. I'm like, dude, you lost. You've lost my story at this point. I don't care. So, again, good match, though. Good match. I definitely think it was one of the better matches on the card.
Yeah. Okay, so our main event was the WWE Undisputed Championship match. It was Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight. Yeah, proving why he truly is the megastar. What a performance. He proved he can hang in there with Roman Reigns. One of my favorite spots in this match, I actually have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Roman mocking LA Knight by going the...
Mm-hmm.
And then him kind of just telling the crowd to shh, because the crowd was behind LA Knight, and it just goes to show how far Roman Reigns has come since his days in the Shield and being a face. I mean, he's just so good at being a heel now.
I mean, and that's the thing. You had the signs of the LA Knight section. What a visual. And looking at this crowd, everybody saying LA Knight. I mean, yeah. Again, I'll offer a little bit of criticism, but I'll call it a compliment sandwich, as they say. Definitely a star-making performance. I don't love LA Knight's moveset. I don't know why. I don't know. I still feel there needs to be a little bit of something. I don't know if it's punches. I don't know if it's more suplexes. Something is missing from his repertoire that just for whatever reason does not speak to me. So I hate to say it this way, and I'll probably get a lot of heat for this, but it kind of reminds me of like that default character when you make it on a wrestling game. He's got like the bulldog and the running neck breaker. I don't know. Again, it doesn't suit me, but going back to the compliment, yeah, I mean, this definitely says he can hang and become world champion. And I mean, look, there was that moment, and they got me again, where he hit the blunt force trauma BFT, and then they had Jimmy Uso throw on that Roman's foot. I thought that was a great visual because I thought they were going to go 1, 2, 3, and then he'd win. And then, of course, they'd say, no, his foot's on the rope, which I think that could have worked better for the segment. But I don't know. I mean, again, star-making performance. And again, had only Jimmy Uso not been there, he would have won the world title. And again, that could make them feud. And who knows what's going to be next.
I actually like the fact that Jimmy Uso put Roman's foot on the rope because that protected LA Knight's finisher of the BFT because Roman didn't kick out of it. So I like that. But as we all knew, it was no surprise. Roman Reigns was going to win this.
Yep.
But overall, I didn't think it was a bad pay-per-view. I definitely give it an 8 out of 10. Like I was explaining earlier, you switched the Miz TV segment with the kickoff match. That it would have been a Sean Spears perfect 10. Or at least a 9.
Agreed. Because I don't think anybody in this match, in these bevy of matches, there was no person that I'm like, the other person should have won. I mean, and I think the right people won at the right time. Would I have liked Drew to win? Yes, but I definitely think the right person to win was Seth Rollins at this point, continuing the whole, he has 3 dragons he's slayed now. Who's next on his list for Survivor Series and what's to come of the Rumble and WrestleMania? So again, I think this match, main event all the way down from the beginning of the card, was perfect. It was a really good match, and there was no matches that I felt like, okay, I got to walk away and I don't really care, because all these had me vested and interested, and that's a rare occasion now. But it's definitely a more occurring occasion now with the new change in booking. So I'm loving how the booking's happening now.
So there's one more thing we have to do before we sign off here. So you guys, for those of you who watched, we did predictions for Crown Jewel. And the winner of those predictions was actually Josh here. He won predictions. It was really close. I mean, when I say you won, I mean it was a clean sweep. You got everybody. You got all the predictions right. There was not one prediction that you got wrong. It was a clean sweep. You beat me and no, hold on, let me say that again. You beat me and Adam Perez, baby.
Yep.
So congrats.
Appreciate it. Again, I wish I had a thing to put on and say here, or like an up, down championship, right? But hey, look, I'll take it.
So as a result, Josh, I acknowledge you as predictions champion. Enjoy it, because you're going down at Survivor Series.
That's what they say. Look, I mean, everybody says Roman's going to lose in the next pay-per-view. You never can tell, right? And maybe, maybe not. We'll just see who raises their hand at the end. But no, definitely fun, and definitely, I was shocked that all my predictions came true. I was amazed when you told me that, and to see the score. Let's just say what the scores are, because you and Adam, and you can probably say better, Adam Perez, baby. You both were at 33, and I was at 36. So it really, I think the only difference, if I'm wrong, I think it was JD McDonough and the Cena predictions. That's the only two that I think one or two of you got. Well, I take that back. Raquel Rodriguez, because Adam's love of Raquel, but it was very, 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 very close. It was almost a 3-way tie.
So the points, you got 36 points, and Adam and I got 33 points each. Like I said, you clean sweep. Me, JD, and John Cena. But here's the thing, like, I only picked John Cena. I was rooting for Solo, but I picked John Cena because I was like, okay, they're gonna give it to him.
Right.
But thank God they did it. And Adam picking Raquel. So honestly, regardless, even if me and Adam would have chosen Sami Zayn, we still would have lost because he went with Raquel and I went with John Cena.
I'm still so close, though. Such a cool.
Yeah, it was really close. It was really, really close.
Well, again, I appreciate it. And again, I cannot wait to see what Survivor Series holds in store for all of us.
Same here. We're on the road to Survivor Series.
War games, baby. War games.
War games. We need William Regal to say war games.
I know. He's almost free. He's free being there, but he's almost free to be on TV again. They got to have him because, I mean, look, the man can sell the name just saying the name. War games. So we need that again.
All right. As we get ready to wrap up, Josh, where can people find you?
I'm just at Gamer Peroski. I'm Pretty simple. Still new to the whole Twitter X game. So, again, patience with me. I'm not as hip being a dad of a toddler. I pretty much, live my life trying to serve my real little tribal chief at home. But I definitely, hit me up on @GamerParosky on Twitter. Facebook, I'm sure you can find me. Last name, first name Josh is pretty easy to find me. So, but again, @GamerParosky is the best way to find me right now.
And you can follow me on Twitter @Attila_. You can see all of my tweets during the live shows, Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Impact, AEW Rampage, any pay-per-view, AEW Collision. And you can check out all my reviews. I go live Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I cover Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, no longer do Rampage. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified not only when this video drops, but when A+ Hero Report releases a new video. And keep it A+. Bye.
Bye.